Hey everybody, it's episode 405 of PodQuest.
Hey, we found it.
Bravo. It's Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. I am Chris. With me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Sometimes I remember things.
It's rare, so fucking slow clap for you.
Yeah.
Man, it looks like it's gonna storm, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't gotten a storm warning on the Googs yet.
No, but so I got home at 4:30 and walked the dogs, and it was gorgeous. It was sunny. There was breeze. It wasn't too hot. Wasn't too cold. Now it's just kind of gray and miserable.
Yeah, according to the Googs weather, we're not gonna get any rain till midnight early.
Huh? What does mine say? Yeah, no, actually, mine says the same. Midnight, all night though. Won't stop until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, and then I'm not looking forward to Friday or Saturday or Sunday.
Oh yeah, no, that 97 degrees on Saturday is some real fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
Looks
it drops down to 76 on Monday. I'm really considering trying to figure out what I can do with the dog that doesn't require me to be home to turn on the air conditioner. But
He's too hairy. You've got to.
Yeah, I was like, where can I bring him? Is there somewhere cool, somewhere dog friendly that we could go that's indoors or cooler? But then I'm like, I gotta mow the lawn. Fuck, I gotta mow the lawn. So I might even I might take off on Friday just so I can mow the fucking lawn. Yeah, otherwise it's not getting done till next weekend.
I've got work Friday. I'll be working from home, but I've got stuff that it's sort of a run. It's kind of like what you do, Rich. It's run a thing and then come back 45 minutes later and see what happened.
Yeah.
So I might use that time on Friday to run out and mow real quick, just because Friday during the day it should hopefully be okay-ish, and then it's just because it's just going to get hotter as the day goes on, and then Saturday is just going to be fucking miserable.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to we have had a pallet of gravel in our fucking driveway for a month now.
Mm-hmm.
For our yard, and every weekend since we've gotten it has either been fucking raining or this weekend it's going to be 100 fucking degrees outside.
Yeah.
And it's we're supposed to go into Philly Saturday evening for dinner, so neither one of us want to spend the morning and afternoon dying in the fucking yard and then go into the city afterwards.
Oh yeah, absolutely, totally agree.
If it was going to be 70 and nice out like it was all day today, I'd been sure, we'll wake up, we'll do the yard stuff as much as we can during the day. We'll wrap up around 2, shower, clean up, and then head over to the city. But no, fuck that. Not in that type of heat.
Yeah, it's just gonna be disgusting.
But other than that, how are you guys doing otherwise?
Allergies have been kicking my ass lately, but that's it.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
How about you, Drew? That's accurate also.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with all that, Rich, what's on the agenda tonight?
So we're going to start off, I'm going to give you my not-so-definitive list of the top-ranking core Mega Man games.
And Drew and I will tell you how wrong you are.
From worst to best. Well, look, this is why it's not so definitive, and we'll talk about that. Then Skull and Bones, that pirate game that we're supposed to be getting, we're still supposed to be getting. I also started to fight Malenia. Keyword started for 4 hours. Then Lucasfilm has some stuff going on with recastings and such. I believe
that's not at all what that says.
I'm barely reading it right now. I'm just trying to skim through it. Give intrigue, and people are like, well, what's going on with Lucasfilm? And then, Cobb, you watched a couple of movies or animes that we'll discuss afterwards.
Close enough on all of that, except for your things. You managed to nail the 2 things you did, asshole.
Yeah, because I know what I did.
Do you though?
No, I don't.
Because frankly, you said that you tried to, or you started to fight somebody. It sounds like you just failed.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into it. Oh boy,
let's get into Mega Man 11 first, Rich. How did you like Mega Man 11?
So, for those of you who don't follow me on stream, I've been going through all of the core Mega Man titles, Mega Man 1 through 11. Unfortunately, I can't do Mega Man in base. I might be able to find a ROM of it. I don't have one right now, but that is considered an actual core game. But I don't have a version of it right now. So I played 1 through 11 on streams, and I finished 11 last week, and frankly, 11 It's really fucking good. Like, it surprised me how good 11 was. The bosses were really cool. The stage design was decent. It wasn't like the best, it wasn't the worst. It was decent. The thing about Mega Man 11 is the actual bosses and like the final boss fights and stuff, they weren't really that difficult. The difficulty actually lied more in the levels themselves. It's normally what I've noticed the opposite. The difficulty lies in the bosses, and the levels are usually pretty quick. But some of these levels took me like 2, 3, 5 minutes to beat. Even longer than that sometimes. And it's just like, a lot of them had like 2 or 3 mid-bosses.
I feel like, isn't like 5 minutes like actually a pretty average time for a Mega Man level?
Hell no.
No, you could get through those levels with sub 5 minutes. Like, you probably like 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, usually like, 3 to 5 is like tops 3 to 5.
Yeah. Like 5 minutes would be insanely long. Like,
yeah. I guess like time just isn't like tracking right for me right now, and it's been a long time since I actually like played any of them. But like 5 minutes doesn't seem that long.
It doesn't, but like think about Mario. That's a 5-minute timer.
Kind of.
It is. It's 300 seconds.
Yeah, but it speeds up.
Yeah, but you still get what I'm saying. Like, you got 5 minutes to play a Mario level. Every Mario game has had the 5-minute timer. That is long as fuck. That feels long when you're playing it. Have you ever just sat there and waited for the timer to run out? That feels long.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, I had honestly never really thought about how many minutes it was either. Because, like, it does, like, unless it's, like, one of the castles that are, like, maze-ish, where you have to, like, figure out what path to take to get someplace.
Yeah.
You never, like, wait for the timer to run out.
Yeah. And it's... What were you going to say, Drew? You were going to say something?
Well, like, the Mega Man speedrun records are sub 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and most of them aren't necessarily, like, going too crazy on skips and levels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you think it's 8 levels plus the 4 or 5 or 6 Wily levels, like, that's
4,
like 2 minutes a level.
Yeah, it's very much, it's all muscle memory when it comes to the speedruns and doing those and knowing like what's coming up and preparing for the upcoming stuff. But in Mega Man 11, like, that was a lot of the game is the level more so than the boss fights, which I liked. It was a big jump or a big change. The amount of like I said, a few levels had like 2 mid bosses. And then after the second mid-boss, you still had to go, like, a couple, like, 20 to 30 to 40 seconds before you actually got to the boss fight itself. And it was cool. They added the mechanic of the slowing down time. You're not slowing down time, you're speeding up. You're increasing your Mega Man speed, but that's... The way they do it in-game is it slows down time. You also make yourself stronger. Your buster shots are stronger and you shoot faster if you use the other one. And like, I thought that was going to be super gimmicky and lame, but it actually turned out to be good. Like, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't, you didn't need it, but it helped you out in a bind when you used it, which was really cool. I never really used it against many of the bosses, until I realized that, like, oh, you can use the power-up one with the boss powers, and it makes you stronger, and I forgot that. But just overall, like, it was really good. Really good. I would say the biggest downside is Wily himself was too easy. And I think, and this was maybe, I'm trying to think, I don't think they had a separate Wily boss rush stage since Mega Man 3. So this is the first time since Mega Man 3 that the boss rush stage and the Wily stage were 2 separate stages. And so that's kind of what brought down...
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's usually... And I always thought it was the other way around. I always thought it was, like... I always thought it was the boss rush is one, Wily is another. But no, it's always been, at least since 4, it's been boss rush and Wily were the same stage. It might even be 3. I don't remember when they changed it. But, like, Mega Man 2, like... Or Mega Man 1 didn't really have a boss rush stage. Like, the Wily stages had the bosses in them, but it wasn't a rush stage, except for the last one, which only had, like, 3 of the bosses plus Wily. And Mega Man 2 had separate stages, so I know that for a fact. I just can't remember if it was 3 or 4 that altered that. But overall, Mega Man 11 is a very, very solid game. And it's got the 2.5D, like, graphical style, which I enjoyed. I think it works really well for Mega Man. And voice acting was a lot better than Mega Man 8. A lot better than Mega Man 8. But Mega Man 8... I didn't
realize it had voice acting.
It does. It has some voice acting and storytelling and stuff like that. It's not just like reading. It's not like Mega Man 10 and 11 or 9 and 10. It's more similar to a Mega Man 8 type style, but like more classic gameplay in a sense, like the 9 and 10s. But yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. It is up there in one of a few that I would say stands out. When it comes to Mega Man games.
One thing I just want to cut in with something from that we were talking about a minute ago. So Mario seconds are apparently drastically different than real world seconds.
Are they?
Yeah. So I knew they were faster. I didn't realize how much faster. So one in-game count is 0.4 seconds. So the 400-second timer in a level of Mario is 160 real-world seconds. The 300 seconds is 120 real-world seconds. So you figure we get 2 to 3 minutes per level. And it basically works out where castles and like puzzly levels are the ones that have the shorter time, the 300 seconds. I'm sorry, no, swap that. Castles, like early castles are very short, and then most overworld or very platformy levels are 300 seconds. Mm-hmm. The castles with puzzles and other like longer levels are the ones that have 400 in-game seconds.
But that's still less than 5 minutes.
No, I mean, it's less than 3 minutes.
It's less than 3 minutes, and that still feels long when you play those games.
Yeah, no, like 100%. I was actually bringing that up because, like, looking at it like that, like, yes, like 5 minutes for a single Mega Man level is insanely long.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it really does stand out. It stands out a lot more than a lot of the others. But we know we're all here to debate about my kind of definitive list of the worst to best Mega Man games. And you'll understand why I'm saying kind of definitive. But we're going to go from worst to best. Worst, all-time worst Mega Man game, Mega Man 1. It is by far the worst Mega Man game. It blows my mind that they made an entire series, sub-series, sub-sub-series, sub-sub-sub-series of Mega Man, plus comics and everything else from Mega Man fucking 1. Which, I don't know what came first, if it was like comics, manga, anime, or Mega Man, but like, how does all of this grow from Mega Man fucking 1?
Well, to be fair, like, most of the time, like, the first game in a series is, of a mainline series, is usually one of the weaker ones, depending on how long that series goes for. Mega Man, like, luckily, like, we've discussed before, I personally don't like a lot of the later games, but, like, I agree with you, like, Mega Man 1 is probably the worst because it has the least functionality.
Yeah.
It is, like, when it comes to fighting the bosses, like, if you don't have Iceman's ability when fighting Fireman, you're fucked. Like, it's next to impossible with the bosses. The boss, like, fucking, Gutsman's ability is worthless. It's worthless. You use it once, twice, and that's to hit Cutman twice if you do Gutsman first. But then you can't use it anymore against Cutman, and it only takes half his health. And if you use it and then die, the rocks don't come back.
Have you considered getting good?
Look, it's not a matter of whether it's getting good or not, because when you finally do fight or get to the equivalent of the boss rush and do fight the bosses again, Gutsman, there's no rocks to grab when you fight Cutman. So Gutsman ability, like, this one ability, one of 6 abilities, is already worthless in that game.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot that ability was based on, like, an actual environmental factor.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. When it comes to fighting Fireman, you can't touch the ground, because if you touch the ground, he throws fire up underneath you. There's nothing, you gotta just constantly jump, which means if you're trying to fight Fireman with buster pellets, you're just fucked. Like, it seemingly, to me at least, from this recent playthrough and, like, slight memories of playing it when I was a kid, there's no, like, real strategy, there's no real tell, there's no real, like, it's just jump and pray for the best. Just jump and pray for the best. That's really all it is. And then just the puzzly stuff, the platforming stuff itself in that one is just, because it's so old, because it was made so long ago, the collision detection when jumping on Gutsman's level, or the blocks appearing and disappearing in Iceman's level, it's not done very well. And it sucks. That is by far, like, it's my number one, it's the worst. Like, not saying I'd never play it again, but, like, I would much rather play any of the other Mega Mans over Mega Man 1.
Yeah, I also definitely do not go looking to play Mega Man 1, like, ever.
Mm-hmm. The next worst, I would have to say, is Mega Man 7.
Okay, was it the last Nintendo one or the first PlayStation one?
It was the last Nintendo one.
And was that on Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Okay.
6 and... Was it just 7 was on Super Nintendo, or 6 and 7?
I think it was just 7. 6 was definitely on NES.
Yeah. And that one, it was just... It didn't play well. It didn't feel right. It just was poor. Like some of the bosses were neat. Like Shade Man's pretty cool. Hold on, it's not. I think I'm going through the wiki for Mega Man 7. But like my biggest problem with 7 is if you exit out of the Wily stages, to go and maybe try to get because I believe they had bolts in that one, or screws. If you exit out of the Wily stages by the screws, you have to restart the entire Wily stage.
Oh, so you would go back to the first level of the Wily stuff?
Yes.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, because if you do that, like, or say you go after Wily, and here's what I believe this is what happened to me. No, that was 4 was where this happened to me. But if you go after Wily and then die, like, and use all of your tanks and whatever, like, you're just fucked. You're screwed. You can't. No, this was the last one on the first Legacy Collection. So what happened with me is I was fighting the final Wily, and I was on phase 2, and I ended up using the last of my heals, and then he killed me. And I was like, this is bullshit. This feels dirty. But I had to use the rewind feature in the game. Because there's no way in hell, because I was already at it for 5.5 hours. There's no way in hell that I'm going to go collect more energy tanks and shit, and then come back to this. Because it wasn't even really the energy tanks as much as it was needing the weapon tanks, because you had the boss you had the boss rush and then Wily. So you already used all your abilities fighting the bosses, and then you needed your abilities to fight Wily. And they also, I believe it was this one, that, like, they don't fully explain some of the abilities, to the point where, like, I didn't know I had to double attack a button, or that might have been a later one. That might have been Mega Man 4. I can't remember. Look,
I keep getting Mega Man 4 confused.
Because Mega Man 4 is the next worst. And that's the thing. Mega Man 4 was also absolute hot garbage, primarily on the level of difficulty. And there's no, like, I mean, sure, maybe there's get good, but the amount of time that was needed to be dedicated to get good in that, like, that was the only one that I looked up the boss order for. Because I played for an hour and only beat one boss before I looked up the boss order. And it was the stages were just too fucking hard and also pretty long. The bosses were too hard. They didn't have good, like, the way I explained it to others was, because I'm not going into these looking up the boss orders and I'm trying to learn it myself, I would tend to, if I got caught up to a boss and didn't have their weakness, I would brute force my way through the boss. I would use the Buster, and I would just attack the boss. Mega Man 4 was, in my opinion, next to impossible to fucking brute force those bosses. If you didn't have their weaknesses, you weren't going to be able to do anything with them.
You mean you don't just have like an innate sense of exactly what a boss's weakness is?
Not since Mega Man 1. Seriously, like, literally not since Mega Man 1. Like, it's not obvious in these later ones. It's not.
They've never actually had a situation where it's rock, paper, scissor, have they?
What do you mean?
It's like you technically get rock and scissor. Because, like, Gutsman crushes Cutsman. Like,
yeah, it's Gutsman does Cutman does, I'm trying to remember who's all in them in the first
Bomb,
Mega Man.
Ice, Elect, and Flame, or Fire.
Yeah,
I forget which one's 1 and which one's 2.
It's Fireman,
Those are the other ones.
Flame Man is 2, Fireman is
Okay,
1. But Cutman, I can't remember who Cutman's strong against. And that's the thing, like,
Bomb?
It is Bomb, that would make sense, because Cutman, because I think Gutsman is weak to Bomb. So you can't have Gutsman, Cutman, Bombman, because then that's just a round robin. It would have to be like Gutsman is strong to Cutman is strong to Electman is strong to Iceman is strong to Fireman is strong to Bombman is strong to Gutsman. I think that's the order. I don't know. If somebody wants to Google it, go for it.
yes.
But it's just like that's like a little bit more straight up, like a fire will set the bomb off, ice will put the fire out, water, ice is water, so electricity is strong to water, Electman is wires,
But would fire not melt the ice?
It would.
Like that,
but
that is bad logic on that one.
It is, but half the level of Fireman in Mega Man 1 is shooting the fires coming up to freeze them. Like,
because,
because NES logic. But yeah, so it's like Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 7 are just on a level of at least hatred and lower, like, the next worst two, the 2 and 3, mostly in a sense of difficulty and mostly in a sense of just, they weren't really that great. They weren't. But it's mostly a level of difficulty in these that were really unnecessary and unheard of in a sense. Like, it's weird to say that, especially with Mega Man 4, but it's like I cut Mega Man 4 a little bit of a slack because Mega Man 4 did have some kind of cool bosses, but overall, like, it was too fucking hard. They were just too hard. Or the fact that you can't leave the Wily stage to buy more things when they provide you the way to buy things, or you can't leave the Wily stage to replenish whatever you lose and stuff. When it comes to following these, it's really hard for me to say. Because if you look at Mega Man 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11, they all essentially still have, like, the fair level of difficulty that I expect from a Mega Man, levels of platforming. Like, it's hard for me to actually say, beyond those 3, which one is best and worst. My mind puts Mega Man 8 up a little higher just because I have nostalgia for it. And it might put Mega Man...
Watching you play that game seemed pretty shitty.
I'm sorry, I got slightly distracted. Which one are we on now?
8. Well, he's saying after the bottom 4, it's kind of a wash of them all being kind of samey. 8 fucking was a nightmare, dude.
I mean...
The voice acting actively detracts from that game.
The voice acting...
Level design sucked shit.
The level design in 8, the only level in 8... No, there wasn't really a level in 8 that frustrated me. The only things that frustrated me in 8, level-wise, were the snowboarding. Those were the things that really frustrated me the most.
Well, I mean, there was kind of a lot of that kind of, like, gimmick, not just platforming shit in levels. Like,
I mean, I don't... The memorable stuff is the snowboarding, and that was, like, the worst part. Like, a lot of Mega Mans still have those gimmicky platforming stuff, like dropping into spikes and making sure to drop, and physics changes with water and gravity. Like, all Mega Mans have those, and so they all utilize them. But, like, Mega Man 8 was the first one to at least incorporate this snowboarding stuff, with the exception of maybe the X games where they have the vehicles and things like that. But it's that's really the snowboarding does bring it down, because I was in that first Wily snowboarding stage for probably an hour trying to memorize that and learn that. But after I got through that, like, the rest of the Wily stages were kind of a breeze, and it wasn't too difficult. You guys want ice cream?
No, thanks.
Okay. And it's just like, I don't think, like, I can understand not liking the level design, and I will say the one thing that does hold Mega Man 8 back, and which is bad, is the split bosses. So when you play Mega Man 8, they give you 4 bosses to fight. And once you fight those bosses, there's a little interlude, and then they give you 4 more bosses to fight. And that is the only Mega Man where it's not just a straightforward, this boss is weak to that boss, which is weak to that boss, which is weak to that boss, all the way circle. It is 2 circles, where the first 4 are all weak to each other in some way, shape, or form, and the second 4 are all weak to each other in some way, shape, or form. But when you go from Area 1 to Area 2, or from, like, the first part to the first act to second act, you don't have any of the boss weaknesses in second act. So that's kind of, that's one part that really does detract it. The voice acting is terrible. It's terrible. But it's also the 90s voice acting. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to, like, I brought up the Mega Man 11 voice acting and how it was really good, just because, like, voice acting now in video games is really good. And it's a product of its time. The voice acting in Mega Man 8 from 1996 is 1996 Mega Man voice acting. Like, it's 1996 voice acting in general. Like, it is bad, but I'm not gonna say it, like, detracts, because it's now memeable, essentially. It's bad to a point where you make fun.
But that doesn't make it good.
But I'm not saying it's good, though. I'm not saying that Mega Man 8 is the best. I'm not.
It sounds like you are.
No. I said I hold Mega Man 8 up higher due to nostalgia. Never said that it is actually the best. I just said that when it comes to every to the additional 8 Mega Man games that I have not really numbered, Mega Man 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, it's really hard to pick a top. If I had to pick a number 1 out of all of these, honestly, at this point, it might be Mega Man 11. But
well,
it might
pick a number 1. We still, like you said, we still have like 8 more to go.
That's why I said it's a kind of definitive list. When it comes to everything beyond Mega Man 4, they all tend to just be Mega Man.
So you have like a bottom 3, and then everything else is just the same to you?
Everything else is just, it's good and it's enjoyable, and it's something that I can see myself going back and playing. And if you ask me, like, what's the most memorable and whatnot, even after playing, like, you guys know me, I'm not going to remember this shit. I had to write down the boss weaknesses because I was going to forget them while playing it. Like, I can't think of, like, a lot of memorable bosses, and the reason Mega Man 11 is sticking out to me right now is because I just played Mega Man 11. If I had just played Mega Man 4 last week, I'd remember more of that. But I remember a lot of Mega Man 4 because of the difficulty and how much I hated it. I remember a lot of Mega Man 7 because of the difficulty and how much I hated it. The rest of them, I enjoyed them to the point of, this is something I could definitely go back to, something I could definitely play, and I like this. This is a good Mega Man game, and this feels like a Mega Man game. Because even if you think about it, Mega Man 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, and 11, or 9 and 10. So 6 of the 8 games are all same graphical style, same gameplay style, with the exception that 2 of them you have the charge ability, and the other 4 you don't.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is such a thing that's like synonymous with Mega Man that you just feel like it's been there for more of it.
You don't get charged until Mega Man 3 or Mega Man 4.
But I think it's there in all of the X's, right?
I probably. But well, I mean, X didn't get created until SNES when they already had the charge ability.
That's fair.
But yeah, you don't get charged until Mega Man 4. And then when they did Mega Man 9 and 10, they took that out. Mega Man 9 and 10, they basically were like, we kind of want to remake Mega Man, but modern, but remake an original. So they just did the original 8-bit graphic style with like a smoother engine, really. And it's not, 9 and 10 are not much different than 2 and 3. It's like when it comes to the SNES era or the NES era of Mega Man games, a lot of them are just pretty much the same. They're just rehashes of already made things that I don't know. It's hard to really like fully give a definitive number.
Well, no. So real quick, what would come next after 8?
Well, hold on, real quick. The other thing, gimmicky, dumb thing I didn't like in 8 was the side-scrolling like shooter level. The auto-scrolling.
Oh, the auto
on Rush.
Yeah. The auto.
Like, I knew there was some other gimmick level, but I was like, "What the fuck
those
is
things were
this?"
stupid.
They had bullet hell levels, which I mean they weren't terrible. They were. I think they had one instance when it was Airman or whoever the flight or whatever the Windman one would be in 8. I can't remember.
It was like Tensu Man or something.
Yeah, it's Tensu Man. And then they had one of those as a Wily stage. And those stages weren't, they tried something. It didn't fully connect. It worked fine for what they were doing. But like, trust me, I get it. But yeah, it's, I don't know. You want to say what's next after Mega Man 8? Well, like I said, because of my nostalgia for Mega Man 8, I take into account, these things are not good. But I just have such nostalgia for it that it's hard for me to appropriately number and sequence. Because I'm like, oh, I love Mega Man 8. But it's also not that great. So it's like, oh, it would probably be maybe around this, like, maybe just better than Mega Man 4, but also I love Mega Man 8. Because that's I played a lot of it. I probably used to be able to beat that game in under an hour.
Prove it.
It'll take me some time, but I used to play that game a lot when we had
I feel like you're just purposely trying to avoid giving anything else a number.
No, I mean I would if I need to I would give Mega Man 11 number 1 right now.
Yeah, but what about everything in between?
I would give all of the NES, SNES style ones tied for the next level. Like they're
No cop-outs. Come on.
No, they are all, to me, they all feel the same. They all played the same. They all act the same. The only difference are maybe the bosses and the levels are slightly different, but like...
Yeah, but like you said, like, in 3 you get the slide, in 2 you get the, what becomes the rush mechanics. Like, there are things in these games.
But in 2 you get the rush mechanics, which you get from 2 moving forward. In 3 you get the slide, which you get from 3... till 8, and then you don't have it in 9, 10, or 11.
So then I feel like your list should be 11, maybe 3, 2, or 2, 3 at the top.
Why would I put those at the top?
Because they're the 2 best ones.
But when was the last time you played Mega Man 5 and 6?
When did the Switch come out?
4 years ago?
No, it was 2017. Shit. 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
So I probably played like the NES Mega Man games in 2015, 2016. It was after we bought the house, so it was sometime after 2014. But it was before the Switch came out, because I did it on the 3DS. So, like, not super recent, but also not so long ago that, like, I was a child.
And you can 100% say that you hated... Mister! Come here!
Chase agrees.
Here. Sit down. Sit. Thank you. So, like, you can definitively say right here that Mega Man 2 and 3 are the best.
In my opinion, I think Mega Man 2 is the best Mega Man, and 3 is a close runner-up.
And all the rest of them are, besides 1, because we all agree that 1 sucks.
Yeah, I would put 8 after 1. So, like, 1's the worst, 8 would be right after that. I have to look up and look and see who the bosses were in each one, because that's kind of how I
No, because if it's not
them. But
see, that's the problem though, because like we had this discussion a while back. And it's like, but they have the more memorable bosses. But if they have the memorable bosses, and if you're trying to go off memorable bosses, which ones you like and hate based on the bosses? If you don't remember them, then you can't really rate them because you don't remember what they're like. And
You
that's
don't remember
kind of
what you had for lunch.
I remember what I had for lunch. I ordered tacos. But like from playing through all of these, I remember the games I hate and the reasons why. And if you're going off of the bosses and only and primarily the bosses, then the difference in the games are very minute because they, like you said, in 2 they incorporate the rush stuff, which you get from 2 and moving forward. In 3 they incorporate the slide, which you get from 3 moving forward. In 4 you get the charge, which you get from 4 moving forward. So they keep adding gimmicks that they hold on to, and so each game is just an enhancement of the previous one. And it's not a new game, it's not a new feeling.
I mean, that's generally what sequels are. They're improvements on what's been done before it.
Yeah, but if you're gonna sit here and tell me that Uncharted, that like something they incorporated in Uncharted 3, it makes something they incorporated in Uncharted 2 makes that the best game when that thing was also in Uncharted 3, like.
But I mean, Uncharted 2 is arguably the better of the Uncharted's, and it was the one that incorporated. It lets you do grenades without having to like reassign things. I don't think that made sense the way I just said that.
No, you didn't have to. You don't have to equip grenades in Uncharted.
Yeah, thank you. That.
So the thing that made it Uncharted 2 the greatest was also in Uncharted 3. So are you going to then say that Uncharted 3 sucks?
No.
Even
Uncharted
though
1 sucks.
Okay. Uncharted 1 sucks, but what about Uncharted 3? Where's Uncharted 3 in this?
Uncharted 3 would be after Uncharted 2.
But why? Is it
because
of
it's not as good as 3?
Is it because of the gameplay mechanics that they introduced in Uncharted 2 is also in Uncharted 3? Or are you looking at the, like, Uncharted might be the wrong example, but like, I'm trying to think of it like a good, like,
well, the problem is that's such a bad logic argument that just because a mechanic continues in a series means a prior game can't be better than a game that still has the same mechanics later.
Because they incorporate the mechanic in the prior version doesn't make that game better.
It doesn't make it worse either.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, though. It's hard to pick the definitive top lists because the mechanics they incorporated in Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3 continued beyond into all the rest of them. And so if you're going to go off that gimmick alone, that gimmick is in all of the rest of them.
But not every game, like, uses it as effective. Like, I personally think that...
I didn't know there was a slide in Mega Man 2, okay?
There's not.
He said it was. He said the slide was in
3.
The slide's in Mega Man 3.
I didn't know there was a slide in 3.
Well,
how did you not know it was in 3?
Somebody doesn't push down in B.
No. Did the game tell me to press down in B?
Does any NES game tell you to do anything?
No, I don't do it unless...
Then you hit buttons. That's how you learned how to play games.
Or you just press left. Right.
I mean...
I was going to say, you can press left and not go anywhere.
But that's, like, I didn't know that there was that slide in there, or if I did, I didn't know until forever. Like, that's part of the miscommunication. In Mega Man, it's either 4 or 7. In order to fight Wily, you needed to use a weapon that you had to double press the button to blow it up. They never tell you this. And so when I'm trying to fight the Wily, and I can't hit him because I'm using his weakness and it's not working, and I'm trying for an hour because I don't know I need to blow it up manually, that's poor design.
Well,
you don't need the slide, so they don't tell you about the slide. I didn't find out about the slide or didn't think about trying the slide until maybe later games. Like, or if I did use a slide in 3, I don't remember.
Instruction manuals were a thing back then.
That's what I was going to say. Back in the 2000s, Jesus fucking Christ. Back in the 80s and the 90s, like, instruction manuals were actually relevant to the game. Like, you couldn't beat the original Legend of Zelda without the fucking instruction manual because it told you where the dungeons were.
You literally could not beat... You can beat the original Legend of Zelda without the instruction manual. You can't beat Star Tropics without the instruction manual.
That's fair. Like, you can't... like, you could bang your head against the original Legend of Zelda and figure it all out. But, like, with the instruction manual, it literally... It came with a map of, like, here's the dungeon order.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you also have to keep in mind, like, it's not so much that it's bad game design. It's these games had minuscule amounts of memory that they basically had to try and, like, maximize as much for. So, they use the entire cartridge to fit the game stuff on, and then rather than having, a tutorial in the game, they just put it in the paper. But now that, that doesn't exist anymore, you're buying these games, you bought them on Steam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you own a digital copy of a game that doesn't have an instruction manual. Unless you Google it, there's no way for you to know how the game, what...
Actual question, do those Mega Man collections have, the virtual in-game manual?
No.
Are you sure?
No, it doesn't. It's just the game.
They do have, at least the collection has, a gallery mode, but I think Richie's right. I don't think it includes, a digital copy of the instructions. It includes, concept art and, character art and all that stuff. It's what... do you remember Blue Bombing on Giant Bomb?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the version of it that Alex was playing, and, whenever he finished it, he'd go through, the gallery stuff and look at, the concept art and everything.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think there was both of us could be wrong, because, why would you go looking for digital instructions? But I'm pretty sure they weren't there.
Yeah, but, I'm not trying to fault this game because I didn't get a tutorial. I'm not.
That sounds like what you're doing.
No, I'm just saying I didn't know that this was in it. So, to sit here and, I was able to, if I realized that Slide was in 3, I can't remember if I did or not, but if I did, as far as I can remember, I might have beaten and gone through that entire game without using Slide, or with using Slide as little to minimal as possible. So to sit here and say that the fact that they incorporated Slide in Mega Man 3, a game in which I barely use it, is one of the definitive reasons why that game is top 2, when you don't need that ability, but then say that because that thing, that Slide they incorporated in Mega Man 3, which is also in the rest of them, but only makes Mega Man 3 good. It just...
No, it doesn't make the other games not good. I'm saying, and also, this is my preference. I'm not telling you what your preference is. I think Mega Man 2 and 3 are the best ones. I think they have the better bosses, the better levels, and the better mechanics. They introduce mechanics that are fun and useful. I understand you might not have used the Slide. I basically
you literally
run through that
have
whole
to,
game
you can't
sliding
beat Hard
all the
Man
time.
stage without the fucking Slide. Wait, yeah. I'm 99% sure you have to have used it on Hard Man stage.
I don't know. It just... Maybe I did.
You were playing them, back to back. They blur together.
Yeah.
But and that's, they all have their... None of them really stood out as much as, say, Mega Man 11 did in being really good. None of them really stood out as, say, Mega Man 1, 3, 1, 4, and 7 did in being just bad and shitty. That's where I'm at. The rest of them, they are all good games. They are all games to play. They're all fun games. But at the moment, it's and I've even been saying this for a few weeks, and I've said to you guys in the past, I don't see much of a difference between Mega Man 2 and 3 and 5 and 6.
But 3 has Proto Man.
Okay, and so does 4 and 5 and 6 and 7.
Yeah, but it's different.
8.
It's different in 3.
But we get base in Mega Man 6, 7.
Yeah,
I
base
believe
is fucking stupid.
Base we get base in Mega Man 7, I believe. I think it was 7 that we get base.
Base is just them trying to one up Proto Man, and we all know Proto Man's the better of the.
And then but you don't get to play as any of them until Mega Man 10. You get to actually play between Mega Man or Proto Man.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. I only played Mega Man 10 once,
you get
around the time it came out.
And when you beat it, you can actually play as base as well.
Oh, that is actually pretty cool. Yeah. And so I actually own 11, but I've never played it. It's just one of those it's one of those games where I'm like, oh yeah, I have Mega Man 11, I should play that, and I just never do for whatever reason.
It's definitely worth a playthrough because like I said, the speed mechanic and the power up mechanic were, to me, when I first got into it, when I was first looking into it, I was like, this is gonna be so gimmicky and dumb. And for the first level or so, maybe the first level, I kind of refused to use it because it's it's not Mega Man. It's not what Mega Man should be. But then I started using it. I was like, oh, this is actually it's not overly needed for the game, but it's something that for me, when it comes to platforming and timed platforming, I need it because I'm bad at platforming. especially
This is
timing
true.
things. And it's just they were just it made it feel very very nice, and like it worked out. And I primarily used the speed because it didn't really make sense to use anything else, to use the power one, and it was, I liked it a lot.
So, here's a hypothetical. Say Mega Man 12 is basically the exact same mechanically as 11, just new bosses. Like,
It would probably be, if I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed 11, it'd probably be tied with 11. That's what I'm saying. Like, my order is they're all pretty much tied together. Like, there might be aspects of one that might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower.
That's a cop-out, and
like,
we all know it.
It's play them back to back to back to back to back to back. I don't know how many times I said that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, play 11 Mega Man games once a week for 11 weeks. Beat them in one.
That doesn't seem like fun, I'm going to be honest with you.
Beat them in one play. Beat them, pick them up, play each one once a week, beat them each, and then tell me that you can still definitively say that some of these aren't all just kind of feeling the same. Like, I know you guys want me to say that Mega Man 2 and 3 are awesome, but I can't say that 2 and 3 stand out to me better than 5 and 6.
You're just disappointing.
And
look, you know what? Like, as far as memory goes, 5 and 6 are not bad the way 4, 7, 8, and 1 are. So, like, I think you did generally actually put, like, the games that are actually bad at the bottom of your list.
And
like, I think you did good with that.
And like, I really didn't list 8 because, like, I have a biased opinion on it. So I would want to put it higher, but I know that it's probably not higher. So it's just, like, not included on the list, essentially, because I know I'm biased towards it. But, like,
at least you understand that.
Yeah. I will outright say, like, if I were to have to put this on the list, it would be middling. It wouldn't be lower, it wouldn't be higher. It would be within the middle, but a little bit higher, maybe.
Which, like, I can understand, like the nostalgia factor. Like that plays into a lot of things.
Yeah.
I own 8, like, physically. Like, I bought that on the PlayStation and did not care for it at the time. And, like, still to, like, 8 might be one of the few that I haven't really gone back to play again because I did dislike it as much when I was, like, younger.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, until you've talked about it, I forgot it had voice acting is kind of how much I blocked it out.
Oh, the voice acting is so bad.
Oh, no, I remember the voice acting now. And, like, yeah, it was atrocious. But, yeah. At least you're moving on to the Mega Man X games next, right?
Yes. So, for the time being, I am focusing a lot of my, time on my streaming time and gaming time on, like, Elden Ring, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm gonna take, like, a month off of Mega Man. Some time off of Mega Man. Because I also, I got Rise for the PC, and so I need to catch up for all of that content so that I'm ready for Sunbreak when that comes out in June. So
I thought you weren't buying it on PC.
It was 50% off.
Oh, okay, that's valid then.
It was on sale. It was on a good sale.
Did you get peer pressured?
No. It was. I've been leaning more and more towards getting it on PC just because I knew more people who played it on PC than on Switch, but B, like, one more person also got it on PC, which kind of put me over the edge. So, like, I know technically now at this point, including myself, I know 5 people who play it on PC as opposed to, including myself, 3 people who play it on Switch. So
aren't most of the people that you know that play it not up for you streaming it if they're playing with you?
They'll be fine. We've streamed before.
Okay, for some reason I thought those folks were the ones that didn't like it.
They've been hesitant, but, like, me, the knee, and Shahid, we streamed Back for Blood.
Okay.
Yeah, and they did good. They did good. They did say one word that I had to call them out on, but I wasn't mad at the fact of what they said or how they said it. It was more of, this word is a trigger word that people don't like to hear, and so I don't want you to say it. Besides that, it's fine.
And it's fine anyway. Like, you have, like, maybe 1 viewer at a time, so, like, no.
I've been averaging about, like, 6 or 7 lately.
Yeah, but only one of them is actively watching.
I mean, maybe, but it still has 6 or 7 viewers. Like, whether or not they're actively watching, I'm still getting those views. But no, I do get a decent number of people who are actively watching.
Well, that's good. Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if my friends would actively watch.
stream better games at a better time.
Let's see. Yesterday I averaged 5.5. Sunday I averaged almost 8.
If you streamed games that didn't suck at a time that I was actually like online, I would totally watch.
I literally streamed one Mega Man a game a week for 11 weeks.
And I did check into a couple of those, but again, you stream at a bad time for me.
7 to 11, 6 to 11. It's not that bad. It's all night. You can check in at any time.
Yeah, but we're like doing other stuff, and I go to bed at 10. Come on now.
Well, yeah, but there's still. When do you want me to stream? At 3 o'clock in the afternoon while I'm working?
Actually, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Like between 12 and 3 would actually be the ideal time. I could watch every day.
Honestly,
I won't, but I could.
Honestly, if this became my full-time thing, I'd probably end up doing like 1 to 10-ish every night.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the only times that I do watch Twitch are during the day, because like it's good background noise a lot of times, to just have something going while I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm not like a chat person, like I don't go into people's chats, but like I'll throw something on from somebody that like I'm familiar with and just like have that kind of off on one of my other monitors.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll just go on and have it on in the background. Some people will sit there and actually watch play. I had we'll talk about it later with my Elden Ring stream from yesterday.
Yeah, but I guess with that in mind, do you guys remember this game, Skull and Bones?
Vaguely.
So apparently, it just got raided in South Korea. So generally, look, this is all speculation. Generally, when a game gets rated, it means that it is nearing completion because they are submitting at least a near complete build of the game to the rating board to determine, like, what age brackets can it be sold to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this game was originally revealed in 2017, but I feel like,
right.
If I remember correctly, wasn't it revealed as something else before that? Like, wasn't it originally supposed to be like an Assassin's Creed spin-off, and then it turned into its own separate game?
I don't know if it was supposed to be an Assassin's Creed spin-off. I do know that, like, I think it was originally supposed to be Black Flag, but then they decided to turn it into its own thing. Or maybe it was like a sequel to Black Flag, like a spin-off sequel to Black Flag. Like, I feel like it had something to do with the success of 3 and Black Flag's sailing, that they started to work on their own sailing game.
That is 100% correct.
Yeah, not necessarily a spin-off, but it was because of the success of those, they started to create their own pirate game.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever officially, in any official capacity, announced as an Assassin's Creed game, but there was the rumor that they were working on a game based off the Assassin's Creed boat combat engine, whatever.
Yeah, so I brought up the Wikipedia for it real quick, and yeah, like both of you are right in different ways. So the game was originally started development in 2013, so it's been almost a decade. It was originally inspired by Black Flag, because that was the one that had the big boat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was initially envisioned as an expansion to Black Flag, and then an MMO spin-off under the title Black Flag Infinite. It was then spun off as an independent project, because like the technology apparently was becoming outdated, so they had to keep like rebuilding it essentially. It wasn't revealed to the public like fully until that E3 in 2017, and it was supposed to come out at the end of 2018, but kept getting delayed until now, maybe 2022, 2023.
Okay.
Because yeah, actually on an investor call in 2019, Yves Guillemot confirmed that the game had been pushed back to at least April 2021 to March 2022 fiscal year. So we are already beyond that. But then in May of 2021, Ubisoft announced a subsequent delay to April 2022, March 2023 fiscal year. So like now they're aiming for this fiscal year for it to come out. And I guess if it's being rated, they must have a valid build of it, because like you can't give a rating board like a very incomplete game.
Yeah.
Because they need to see what the game looks like what the violence level looks like, if there's any like sexual content, all that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. Do you guys think we're actually ever going to see this?
I mean,
Still no.
It's actually been in the news a lot lately. The fact that like they've said in a shareholders call that like they're still working on it or something. They had like a conference about it. Like it's been in the news a lot. That I have like I doubt we'll see it this year, especially because we're already in almost June.
But this fiscal year, maybe.
But yeah, by April of next year, it's a very strong possibility.
And actually, but I don't know if either of you will have anything off the top of your head that you can remember. Hasn't Ubisoft in not in the last couple of years, like during COVID times, but like pre that, didn't they have a few instances where like they announced a game at E3 of that year that like then launched in the like fall Christmas window?
Sure, at some point they did.
I feel like it's a thing that happened a couple of times with them, which, you know, like, if that game is being rated right now, and I know there's been conversations about Ubisoft maybe doing some sort of stream over the summer, or maybe they're going to be part of Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, I don't know. They could show this off and, like, announce, like a holiday date for it that they will then miss and release sometime early next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember them ever. I don't have a memory of them ever like announcing something at E3 or at a thing early in the year for holiday. The only thing I remember is the fucking Division being announced at 17th. So, yeah,
they really did bring trot. That game was up there with Deathloop. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, but like when it came to the difference between Deathloop and Division wasn't thrown down our throats at every conference, just at E3. But also around the time that that Division was initially announced, we weren't getting all these other conferences and all these other events, like PlayStation events and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think that was the thing, too. Like, PlayStation stopped going to E3 and they started doing their State of Plays.
Yeah.
So, like, every time they did a State of Play, they were showing off Deathloop.
Yeah. So, like, I more have, like, you said, what, we got the announcement in 2017 to be released in 2018. But we're not
so
getting
it's been 5 years.
But we're not getting the game till potentially 2022, 2023. That kind of sounds about right for Ubisoft, in my opinion. Like, it's not a core title. It's not it's not an Assassin's Creed. It's not like an annual game. So, like, to wait 5 years post-announcement based on how the Division was, like, it kind of sounds about right. Plus, maybe they were maybe, like, let's see, the PS4 came out last year, 2020, right? So almost 2 years ago.
Wow,
wait.
God, yeah, it was fucking
hold on.
2020.
You said the PS4, by the way.
I meant the PS5. The PS5 came out in 2020. So say they announced this 2017 with the announcement of the PS5 in 2018, 2019. You know what? Let's get this for new console. And then COVID happened, and then Cyberpunk happened, and then they're like, okay, let's make sure this is actually working to get it going.
This game is still scheduled only for last gen.
Really?
Yeah, it's still a PS4, Xbox One, and PC title.
It'll probably be.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening.
Yeah, it'll most likely be a next gen game.
So they might release next gen, but it's going to be last gen developed.
Ooh, this all makes me even more think this game never comes out.
Right up there with Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yep.
Hey, we're getting that.
No, fucking Michel Ancel quit games.
Yeah,
he went to go work on a zoo or some shit like that.
That's beyond. I tried.
You did. You failed, but you tried.
I tried.
I commend the effort. Rich, do you want to tell us about your failures, your other failures with Elden Ring?
I fought Malenia 4 hours last night. 4 hours. I got to her at 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, and I fought her till about 11:30, 12 o'clock. Over 40 deaths fighting her. First of all, it took me 2 hours to get to her, and I was in the quote dungeon that she was in. And I died a lot just getting to her.
She's optional, isn't she?
She's optional. She's 100% optional. You don't need to fight her. But there was one point where I had two buddies of mine were watching, and every time I died, they would play the sound alert for that, like, shitty Titanic flute theme. I'm sure you guys have heard it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So every time, and there were times that I would die pretty rapidly, like, within, like, a few minutes. And I even had a streamer friend pop on and was like, hey, could you guys cool it with the Titanic flute? And I'd be like, it's alright, bro. They're doing it every time I die, I just suck. And he's like, oh, alright, sorry about it. I'm like, thanks for looking out, but, cause he's watching me while he's working, he's got me lurked up. But like, yeah, fucking Malenia. She's an optional boss. She heals with every hit. She also fucking, if you guard her, whether you have 100% physical defense or not, because all she's doing is physical damage, if you guard her, she still heals. Which is bullshit. I think that needs to be changed. Because she has one ability that's almost next to impossible to dodge, where, like, she jumps up into the air and then pops down and, like, dashes at you and swings her blade multiple times. I think it's, like, 4 times. And she does that 3 times in a row. So it's 12 hits. That if you get her down to half health and then get hit with this thing, if you don't die, she's almost back to full health.
I don't know, man. To my understanding, there are some people that just solo this thing, like, with no armor.
There certainly are some people who just solo this thing with no armor. 100%. I've not watched them, but there are people who do this. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But they're also they roll a lot faster. I'm medium weighted, so I don't roll as fast as some of these other people do.
Well, take off all your armor, and you'll be able to roll faster.
I'll die in 2 hits. And
then just don't get hit. You'll be rolling faster.
Honestly, that would work. Probably. It's a lot of timing. This fight it's one of the most skill dedicated based fights I've ever seen in a game. Like, you need, it's to the extent of the Valkyrie Queen, in God of War. Did either of you ever do that one?
No, because the Valkyries were not fun to fight.
The Valkyries were some of the funnest parts of that game.
I don't like Souls games. Why would I like the Valkyrie fights?
I mean, they're not Souls-like in that one, though. Like, they are very...
That's the thing. I don't like boss... Like, we've been over this. I don't want to have to fight a boss more than once to figure out their pattern. That's not fun.
You don't like skill. You don't like to get good.
That's like, I don't want to have to, like, do the same thing. I don't like going insane. I don't like repeating the same thing over and over again.
But, like, she's so, it's a fun fight. It's just frustrating dying 40 times over the course of 4 hours. I had her
good for you for actually, like, sticking with it that long. I would have been done after number 2.
No, there was one point that I had her down to, like, 1 or 2 hits left, and I was able to stun her with one of my hits. Like, it wasn't 1 or 2 hits, but I was able to, if you hit the enemy enough, you break their poise and they get stunned and they go down, and you can get a crit. But on humanoid bosses, to get a crit, you have to be facing them. You have to be in their face. You can't be in the middle of a combo. So you just, like, you have to take it very slow when you think you're close to breaking her poise. Because if you do one additional attack after her poise is broken, you lose your chance to get that crit. Like, the crit window is so small for her. And so I had her down to phase 2, very low on health. If I had gotten that crit, she would have been dead. But I fucking hit the attack button one extra time after I hear the noise go, and it breaks her stun lock. And then she kills me. And I was like, that was like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours in, and I got so mad. So mad. But, like, that was also when I started to, like, get more consistent with the first phase, and get her health down lower with the first phase, use less healing in the first phase. I think by the time I quit and gave up, majority of the fights, I was getting her to phase 2, having only had used about 4 or 5 healings. And it's just, it feels good to get to that point, but she's difficult. And it's like, I know Eric, it took him about 10 hours. A buddy of mine said it took him about 4 or 5 playthroughs. So, like, multiple hours each playthrough. And it's just, it's one of those things. It's a hurdle that I now need to pass, and I might call in help and see if I can get, like, let me solo her to come. But I don't really know if I want that. I don't know if I want Let Me Solo Her to come.
Maybe you'll get Let Her Solo Me.
I don't want that either, because I don't want to waste that time. I really don't.
It could be interesting, at least.
No, because here's the thing. When you play multiplayer in those games, if you or the other person dies, you're done. It's not like you can resurrect somebody or bring them back, or you both have to die in order for it to be over. If one of you die, it's over. So, like, I don't want to waste that kind of time. That's really all it is, because you summon them, it loads in, they need to load in, then you go into it, and then you go to fight her, and then she actually has to aggro onto him instead of onto me, and then he has to get, it's just a waste of time. Even if it is only 5 minutes. We already went over earlier today. 5 minutes in gaming is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And, like, honestly, that's why I don't enjoy those games. Like, because you do have to, like, do the same thing over and over, and it's not like the really hard platformers like Super Meat Boy or Celeste, where, like, you die a lot, you respawn right there. So, like, you're just retrying the exact same thing over and over. You're not having to then make your way to the thing takes time and all that.
Most of the bosses in a From Software game have a grace point or a stake of Marika right in front of them. So if you die, you reload right in front of the boss.
Okay, I didn't know that, because the only one so the bosses I died at in Elden Ring, it was that first like world boss thing that you're not supposed to fight, which takes you back kind of far, because I had missed that first save point, like when you first come out.
Are you talking the tree sentinel?
Is that what it's called?
The dude on the horse?
Yeah, that.
I mean, unless you literally missed the grace point that's right outside the tomb.
That's literally what I just said. I missed the first save.
How the fuck did you miss that grace point? It was literally right there. You talked to the guy and it's right there.
I didn't talk to the guy the first... No, you know what? I talked to the guy the first time, but did not see the grace point because I saw the thing riding around on a horse and tried to avoid it.
But, like, you don't get sent back that far. You just have to go up an elevator.
No, I understand, like, it's not that far, but, like, that elevator fucking takes its time. And the only other Souls game I ever played was, Dark Souls 3. And I couldn't get through the first fucking phase of the first boss. And because it's literally the game opens with that boss, there's, like, it's not a long section, but there is a section from, like, where you start to the boss door with some, like, just, like, trash mobs that you have to just keep fighting over and fucking over again to get back to the boss. It was fucking awful. I hated it.
You can't just run past them?
I don't think so. But, like, I'm not good at those games, so running past them, I was probably going to get hit and then have to try and fight the boss with even less health.
But, yeah, Malenia, I can't believe they threw something in like that. The thing that aggravates me the most about her is if you are guarding with a shield that has 100% physical damage reduction, which means you do not take damage as long as you have endurance, as long as you have stamina, she still heals if she hits you when you're guarding.
I remember hearing that. It was either on a podcast or, like, in an article. I thought that was very funny. It's basically like, she's not absorbing, like, your damage as health. Like, it's just every time she swings her weapon, every time her weapon comes into contact with something, she gets health back.
Well, there was a bug with her after they patched the game where every time she swung her sword, no matter if she hit something or not, she healed.
That's funny.
I think they had to have quickly patched that out. But I'm surprised they were able to patch that out. But my game still runs like fucking shit on my PC. It blows my mind.
Your PC's a year old. It's fucking outdated. Get a new one.
No, it's the EAC that they have in it that really fucks with how the game plays and causes me to drop major frames and shit like that.
You need a better video card then.
No, it's not my system. It's the fucking game. I'm not the only one who has these issues. I am fully updated with the drivers and everything. It's easy anti-cheat is the problem. Easy anti-cheat is causing the game to drop my frames and shit like that. I'll be standing there looking at the sky, and I'll go to move the camera, and it drops frames for like a second or two, trying to move the camera. I'll be walking downtown. I'll be going into a cave where all that should be loaded is the fucking cave, and easy anti-cheat really fucking kills it. It's not my system because like I can watch my Twitch things and my bit rates and everything on Twitch and it's all still steady. It's not my system. It's the fucking game itself. It's the software itself is poorly optimized with this easy anti-cheat.
I don't know. How much memory do you have?
I have 8 gigs, so...
You only have 8... Wait, no. System memory, not video memory.
No, my RAM is, I believe, it might be 16 gigs. It's 16 gigs, not 8 gigs.
There's no way. Yeah, you have to have at least 16. There's no way you have 8.
It's 2 8s. It's 2 8s.
Okay.
Not 2 4s.
I was almost very upset with you, and yeah. Like, even 16, I understand that, you didn't want to, splurge too much. You should have splurged. But, at this point, Windows 10 basically just needs 8 to run well. So, your additional 8 is so that you can run other things. But, yeah, I'm telling you, man, your PC's a year old. It's basically garbage.
No,
it's a paperweight. Just throw it away and get a new one.
Trust me, it's not the PC. It's all PCs. It's not just mine. A lot of people have had this issue. And this is the thing that makes me laugh when I've talked about. I think I've talked about this with you. There were people online who were freaking out about the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake on PC is unplayable. It's unplayable on PC because there's drops in frame rates at certain points, and it makes it impossible to play. Which it doesn't make it impossible to play. You're being very, very over the top when it comes to this. Yes, there are frame rate drops. I've seen videos where there are frame rate drops when you're playing it. But how updated is your system? How new is your system? Oh, we've got the greatest things. We've got the newest things. All right, maybe they'll patch it. Hopefully they'll patch it. Well, the problem is this thing. Okay, then turn it off. Well, you need to download a mod to turn it off. All right, well then maybe they'll fix it. They won't fix it. Final Fantasy XI, worst game ever. Unplayable on PC. Elden Ring releases on PC. Constant frame rate drops. They haven't fixed it. It's been 4 months. Elden Ring's the greatest fucking game in the world. It's amazing. I can't believe it. But you're giving me the same problems that fucking Final Fantasy has. Because there's also, you don't have as much options with graphical capabilities and such, as other games do as well when it comes to Elden Ring and this. Your complaints about Final Fantasy VII Remake are all in effect with Elden Ring, but you're sucking Elden Ring's dick, and you're fucking Final Fantasy VII.
So what I'm hearing is Final Fantasy VII is a better game than Elden Ring?
I would argue that, yes. 100%.
Okay, cool.
100%. I would argue Remake. Honestly,
no, just in general.
But, honestly, probably Final Fantasy VII, the original, is probably a better game than Elden Ring. But, I would argue that Final Fantasy VII Remake is a better, stronger game than Elden Ring.
Okay, cool. So then get a new PC so you can play Final Fantasy VII.
I have it on PS5. Why would I buy it again?
I don't know. Why not?
I have it all on PS5. If there were an update and it was on super cheap sale, then maybe. But there's no reason for me to get it on any, because it's not even multiplayer anyway. So it doesn't matter. I'll get Final Fantasy VII. I'll play Final Fantasy VII on my PS5.
Yeah, but you can get all those pornographic mods.
I don't need those. I'm not that kind of guy. It was funny. When you get Malenia,
your search history begs to differ.
When you get Malenia into phase 2, she drops to the ground and then pops out of a cocoon or something like that. I don't fully remember, but before you're fighting her, she's in cloth armor and stuff like that. And then when she emerges from her cocoon, is in her butterfly state, she's not wearing any clothes or anything. And somebody in my chat was like, I would be so distracted by the character's characteristics that I would not be able to play this. I'm like,
is that why it took you 4 hours to not beat the game?
No, she's fucking hard. And it's not, the second phase isn't as hard as the first phase, but it's tedious because because I said tedious and you said tedious.
No, I was talking about the thing you said before.
I don't remember.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah, God, if anybody has any tips or anything on Malenia, I might try to stream a little bit tonight to just do a Malenia stream and only fight her, and if we win, that's it, we're done.
I've heard the way to beat her is to get good.
It took 4 hours, and I'm getting there.
So just 8 more, right? That seems to be.
I hope not, because I just want this game to be over. I really do.
Well, if she's optional, you could just not beat it.
I started her. I started fighting her. I got to do it now.
Now, have you unlocked the underworld? It's not the underworld, but you know what I mean, the underground map.
I did the sewers and stuff. There is one boss that I didn't go after, which is also optional. That I'm probably not going to go after because I just don't fucking care.
So you got the entire upper world and the entire lower world like explored for the most part?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I've got the entire map unlocked, and there are areas and regions that I haven't gotten to yet that I just don't care to push for. At this point, it's more of a point of pride to kill Malenia and then go to the end. I basically know probably what ending I'm getting because of a storyline that I already completed, and so like anything else I do, I don't think will really change my end game storyline unless I were to go visit the Three Fingers. Then that would change it, but I'm not going to go do that either. Like I said, I really don't care. I don't. And if I hadn't already started Malenia, and if I had accidentally gone and beaten the game, I wouldn't be trying to fight Malenia. But because I knew that like she was in a side area, and I went to that side area, now it's more of the pride of defeating her.
Okay, I mean that's fair.
Yeah, because it's
That is
just
certainly fair.
this is taking up too much. I'm at fucking almost 80 hours at this point.
And you know what? That's not that bad.
It's too long for primarily single player game. Yes, there's multiplayer. Yes, there's co-op, but it's not an MMO. It's not like, for me at least, the multiplayer aspect of the game is not appealing at all. Like for a single player game, 80 hours, it's too much.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but also like there are plenty of like JRPGs that are well over 80 hours.
Yeah, but they're good and have a story.
Also, not going to argue.
And are compelling and have character design. Although occasionally we'll use bosses as normal enemies, they don't do that too much. So
that's fair.
If you were to play, like, I started to fall in love with Elden Ring the more I played it initially, and then the more I played it, the more I was just like, it's too long, it's too much, and frankly does not deserve to be Game of the Year, should not become Game of the Year, and it probably will become Game of the Year. Everyone's sucking on Elden Ring's dick, and they shouldn't be, because it doesn't deserve all the praise that it gets.
But also, like, you played it in such a specific circumstance that I feel like did sour you on the game in ways that other people didn't.
I personally feel like even if I stuck with it, I'd still be in the same mindset, because I was like that with Hyrule Warriors. Like, it was too long, it just kept going, it should have just ended at a certain point. Like, there's too much to it. And at this point, I am in the same sense, I am with this game in the same sense that you are with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a great game. It's a fun game. It's enjoyable. It is a very bad Zelda game. Elden Ring is a good game. Good but enjoyable. It is a very bad From Software game, and that does not translate well. Because there is no suspense. There aren't enough dungeons to build up that suspense of fear of turning the corner, because the world is too open.
Which, I mean, like, I feel like that's a valid criticism. And like, I'm not saying that you are wrong, but you are definitely in the minority, it seems, because everybody else like loves what they did with it.
I know someone who loves From Software games. They dedicated, they're a streamer, they dedicated Sunday nights to Soulsborne games. They played through Sekiro like 4 or 5 times. They played Demon's Souls. They played Bloodborne, all of those multiple times. They can't get themselves to go back to Elden Ring. And it's like, I liked it, but it was too much.
You wanted something more linear and controlled because of the style of those games.
And that's kind of where yeah. Like, I like how ambitious they were with the openness, and I was hoping that it kind of worked, and it slightly does, but really doesn't, because of how these games are made and the way you play them. Like, the dungeons are few and far between to make it really worthwhile. When you do get into the dungeons, a lot of them, at least depending on how you play with the exploration, they're too easy because you're probably already power level. Like, it's not until you get to the later areas that the dungeons get a little bit harder, but it's the main dungeons that are the difficult part. The base dungeons are easy. And it's less about the enemies and more about the platforming that gets me. The enemies aren't that difficult. It's the platform.
Well, you should just get better at platforming.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen you try.
I tense up. That's never going to happen. I tense up. But there's this Lucasfilm stuff.
Yeah, so I honestly just thought this like headline was kind of amusing. So Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know if it was part of like the upfronts or the investor calls or something, but she basically said that they learned their lesson for recasting original trilogy characters with Solo, and alluded to the reason Solo, did so poorly was because they tried to recast Han Solo. And I personally think that's not the takeaway from this at all. The takeaway is it was a poorly written film that changed directors 3/4 of the way through. Like, it was never going to be what they thought it was going to be when they didn't even actually have any faith in their original directors. Because like neither of you guys ever saw Solo, right?
No, I've been meaning to watch it, but I have not gotten.
So like it is definitely not the best of any of the Star Wars stuff, but it's also not that bad. Like the thing that works the most in it is actually the cast. Like the writing is fucking as bad as some of the prequel movies writing. Like the whole like his name being Han Solo because he was alone while enlisting in the fucking Imperial Navy is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard.
Uh-huh.
But like that actor sold it.
Yeah.
And like for them to be like, oh yeah, no, like this movie did bad because we tried to recast Harrison Ford. It's like that's not the case at all.
No, the movie did bad because it was just not good.
Yeah, it's the problem that everything Star Wars has had since Disney took it over. They have no single vision for anything, like movie wise. Like they at least have like the same people dealing with all of the Disney Plus stuff. But like as far as the movies go, every fucking movie they've done since 2015 has had a different creative team, basically. Because, like, yeah, like, episode 7 and 9 were both J.J. Abrams movies, but, like, J.J. basically had to try and, like, undo what Johnson did in The Last Jedi because it didn't fit his vision from his first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like it would have been even fucking worse if, Colin Trevorrow did episode 9 the way he was originally, slotted to, because you would have just had 3 movies completely disconnected from one another.
Yeah.
That were supposed to be a single story.
Yeah, they've been doing some really silly, or making some really silly choices about like how they're going to actually release these and make these movies. That it doesn't work. Like you're trying to act and you're acting like these are comics, and they're not. I know comics, they change writers every like 10 or so books or whatever, but like that's not how this should be. Like
yeah, exactly. Like. A movie should have, like, a movie trilogy should have some sort of consistency, like, between them.
Mm-hmm.
At least if you're trying to actually tell, like, a singular story like that. Like Doctor Strange, for instance. Like, not a huge deal that Doctor Strange 1 and 2 had different directors. Because, like, they're not really telling a follow-up story to Doctor Strange 1. It's been long enough. Doctor Strange has been through more movies and more things have happened in that shared universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, between episode 7 and 9, nothing else happened. Like that story was it. And like yeah, it's just stupid. Like they need to just. Unfortunately, like I think Kathleen Kennedy may be like one of the problems because she's the one in charge and seems to be making all of the bad decisions at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like she has a good track record. Like she has been involved in some of the biggest, most well-renowned movies in history. But like when it comes to this stuff with Disney, I don't know whether like somebody from Disney is like pushing her and she just doesn't push back or what. But other than like and even the Disney Plus stuff is hit or miss, like from episode to episode. But at least you have like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni as like the two people involved with all of those things, kind of like keeping them on a like the same path at least. Like they're diverging here and there, but like the goal is still the same for all of them. And they're not, like, doing something wildly different between each other that then contradicts what another one did.
Like, I want to know whose decision it was to release both Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan, like, 2 weeks apart from each other. Like, they've only ever had one major MCU or Star Wars show on at a time, and now they're doubling up. Like, why are they
Are they overlapping?
Yeah. Miss Marvel is June. I want to say, like, the first week of June, and Obi-Wan's next Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, June 8th. Holy shit. For some reason in my head, Miss Marvel was July.
No.
Because I thought it was like, Miss Marvel was I thought like Obi-Wan was end of May, and into June, and then Miss Marvel was July, and then I believe they just announced She-Hulk is August.
Yeah, there's an actual She-Hulk trailer, if you have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
It looks very, very campy, and I both dig it and don't really know how I feel about it.
It does look campy. It also looks like the CGI isn't quite done.
Yeah.
Apparently people have like commented on that, and it sounds like Disney may have like alluded to the fact that like they're still like finalizing all that, so don't take the trailer as like what it is going to look like in the end.
Yeah. And like she was so green that she was Eric Bana Hulk.
Yeah. And
it's just no, don't go that route. But yeah, back to Star Wars and pretty much Disney Plus in general. Like they're making poor decisions, and it's like I want to know why they decided to do Solo or Obi-Wan and Ms. Marvel back to back. Like,
dude,
Obi-Wan...
the last 3 episodes. So I'm sorry to cut you off. I just caught this. The last 3 episodes of Obi-Wan aired the same. Like they released the same days as Ms. Marvel, even.
Yeah.
So like episode 1 of Ms. Marvel is June 8th. Episode 4 of Obi-Wan is June 8th.
Yeah.
Which like I guess like it's not a huge deal, but it does like it cuts like their original content offering, kind of like
their original plan I thought was like a new show every week was what I remember them saying last year at like the Disney conference that they did, the D Plus conference they did or whatever. Like I remember them saying specifically a new episode, a new show every week. But like we've just gone 2 weeks without new episode, and you've got a show overlapping 3 weeks with another show, which is then going to be a small gap between Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk. Like, where was the thought in scheduling right there?
So I wonder, how much of that do you think has to do with them not wanting to cut into weekend viewing for, like, Doctor Strange that just released? Because Moon Knight ended the week before Doctor Strange came out, if I remember correctly.
Moon Knight ended the week of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like, it ended on Wednesday, and then Doctor Strange technically came out that Thursday.
Yeah, but the next episode, the next show would have come out the following Wednesday. That's not going to cut into weekend views. But it's also an hour compared to a 2.5 hour movie. That's not going to cut into weekend views. You can find an hour to watch that new show and the 2.5 hours to watch that movie if you want to.
You're making some big assumptions there.
I know you guys can't, but normal people can.
No, I'd actually say most people can't. Like, I feel like me and Cobb are a little more indicative of the general public.
An hour from Wednesday to Sunday, and a 2.5 hour during opening weekend, Friday to Sunday. Somebody can find an hour to watch a show, and then 2.5 hours to watch a movie.
Man, that's 3.5 hours. That's a lot of time to carve out of 5 days.
It's not that much time. Everyone gets an hour lunch break, right?
No. Fucking almost nobody gets an hour lunch break. What are you talking about?
Any 9 to 5 gets an hour lunch break.
No,
that's not
absolutely not true.
That's absolutely fine.
No,
sorry.
No,
let me correct it.
Super duper not true.
Let me correct it. Any 8 to 5 gets an hour lunch break because I'm an 8 to 5. I have to clock out for an hour to get my hour lunch break.
I'm telling you, it is not true.
I've never been in an office job that does not at least offer an hour lunch break.
Erica only gets a half hour.
I've worked an office job for 13 years. I've never had an hour lunch break.
I've worked an office job for 10 years, and I've always had offered up to an hour lunch break.
So I technically get an hour lunch break, but if I'm at a client, that hour is spent driving.
See, no, that's bullshit. That hour should not be spent driving. That hour should be spent on your lunch. But even
driving to and from that is time. Like an hour lunch break is not enough time to watch an hour long show.
Yes, it is because
it's not.
Yes, it is because
not for the average person.
Let me fucking continue. Moon Knight, Solo, Ms. Marvel, any other fucking Disney Plus show may say 56 minutes, but there's already 8 minutes taken away because of credits, and they're also never longer than about 45.
Solo's a movie.
Oh, you know what I mean. Like, you know what I'm talking about. I keep wanting to say...
Calm down.
I keep wanting to say Solo when I'm talking about Obi-Wan. But, like, you are making it seem like it is impossible. Jordan, you could watch these on your lunch break.
I don't get an hour lunch.
You don't need an hour lunch.
I don't get a 40-minute. I get a half hour.
You don't need more than a half hour. You can
also have lunch, you do.
But yeah, like
Okay.
that is, I am literally the second I start lunch to the second I'm done is I'm watching the show. Like,
yeah.
then I didn't eat. I didn't do anything else I could have possibly wanted to do on a lunch break. Like, or needed to do, like go to the bank or do whatever the fuck else I needed to do.
I'm sorry, it blows my mind that it's for you guys, and apparently I'm the minority here, that to find an hour or to find 3.5 hours is impossible over the course of 7 days.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I do it, but it's not always easy.
That blows my mind. I guess I'm just lazy because, like, I literally wake up on a Sunday and have nothing to do every
You're
fucking
single.
week. It doesn't matter.
Single. Yes,
you're married.
That 1,000% makes a difference from your situation to me and Cobb's situation. Because even if we have I have zero plans on a Saturday or Sunday, Sarah might want to do something, and then we're doing something together. Or, like, Cobb has said multiple times on here, Erica might not always want to watch a thing, so they don't watch something, like, they find something they watch together, rather than Cobb watch something by himself and Erica sit there and do nothing, basically. You know? Like, it's a different situation.
It's Erica doesn't want to watch a thing, so then you guys watch separate things. Like, like, you don't... Because, like, this is a thing, Eric does the same thing. Audra always falls asleep when we're watching something, so I have to rewatch it. Just keep watching it. If she gets mad, that's on her, she fell asleep. If somebody doesn't want to watch something, then
this is why you're not married.
No, it's you are two separate people. You have your own choices. If you want to watch a thing and they don't, then you guys...
Yeah, but I'm not going to
watch something.
Like,
I'm not going to change the TV channel to something that only I want to watch.
Cobb only has the one TV, or do you have one downstairs right now? Or
no. Like, we have a small TV in the bedroom, and like I technically have one in like the office, but it's very old, and the picture quality is just absolute garbage.
And you all have tablets, and you all have phones. You all have laptops and computers and monitors and.
I was actually going to say, yes, I'm in a different situation where I have a whole separate office set up that I could go watch shit.
Cobb also has a whole separate office set up.
Yeah, that I sit in 8 fucking hours a day. I don't want to be in here any other time.
I don't leave my living room.
That sucks, but at least you can move to a different seat. I only have one place to sit in my office. Like, I have an office chair that I don't find very comfortable. And comfortable office chairs, way too fucking expensive.
On the average day, I'm sitting in my work chair, my computer chair, for about 10 and a half hours.
That's so much. Like, how is your back not just like a fucking crumbled mess?
I have a good chair.
Oh, that's right. You bought like one of those like gamer chairs with like the lumbar thing and all, right?
Yeah, because I knew I was going to be spending a lot of time in it.
Yeah,
like you invest in it. If you like, but again, though, like, yeah, you spend up to 8 hours. You spend up to 8 hours in your office, and then 45 minutes to watch, or 35 minutes to watch a 45-minute long Disney Plus show because there's 10 minutes of credits. Like, you can get that 35 minutes and then go downstairs.
I could, but like, again, I don't like this room. It's fucking uncomfortable up here. Right now, it's about 15 degrees hotter in this room than it is downstairs because the air conditioning doesn't push upstairs very well. The room's too small.
Your air conditioner's on?
Not right now, but it was on a few days ago. Like, it's hot in here during the day. I'm not leaving my fucking dogs home without the air on. Like, our house was over 80 degrees the other day, even with the windows open. Like, both dogs were laying in the kitchen panting. I'm not going to just leave them to, like, suffer. I think your house actually stays cooler than mine, too.
I mean, it does, but... the problem with the reason my house does probably stay a little bit cooler is because it is southeast facing.
Yeah, we get
so I get the morning sun and not the night sun.
Yeah, ours is the opposite. During the day, like morning until like early afternoon, temperature in my house is perfect. Even it can be 100 degrees outside and it's generally comfortable in here. As soon as the sun comes around, though, the back half of the house, like where like basically where the living room and my office are. The sun hits it all day, and there's no trees behind us to, like, shade it. So it's just, those two rooms just skyrocket and become just stiflingly uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, we will turn the air on as soon as, like, it is just slightly uncomfortable. Like, I'd rather pay a little bit extra and be comfortable than
I wish
not.
I wish my electric bill was a little bit extra when I turned on.
I mean, you also have two other people who, from what you've described in the past, don't exactly, like, take into consideration a lot of things.
I'm pretty sure that AC was on over the past couple of days.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it is different when, like, and, like, again, like, Drew and I are in a slightly different thing. Like, it's us and our wives. It's not two people who, like, kind of suck, and only seem to care about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're, like, when you have that house to yourself again, I bet your electricity bill goes way down.
I mean, even before, but that was an old air conditioner, so we'll see.
That's what I mean. You, like, because you got the new one that should be, like, energy efficient. Like, I imagine, like, it won't cost nearly as much.
No, honestly, and this is a whole tangent we don't need to get into too much more, but, like, my house is in shitty shape. Like, the windows upstairs aren't energy efficient.
Same here.
Like, my attic is not well insulated. Like, and
Same.
I tried to do that last year, but no one wanted to help, so we didn't do it last year, and now I just have to suffer. So it's my house is not, with the new system. Yeah, it's a little bit more energy efficient, but I'm hoping if I can get somebody to come out and clean the vents, that might help.
It's possible.
But besides that, it's not really much else. But
yeah, and just to wrap up what you're saying about, like, finding the time and all, like, keep in mind, like, Erica gets home between 5:30 and 6 most nights. I go to bed at 10 because I'm fucking exhausted. Like, by the time we're done dinner, we fed the dogs, gone, like all that stuff, like, we really only get, like, 2.5, 3 hours to, like, spend together. So, like, I'm not going to go upstairs for an hour of that to watch something else, or even 45 minutes of that. Like, I'm going to wait until I can find time during the week when, like, I don't have something going on at work that I can watch it then.
But again, and I'll like, again, this is a whole nother tangent we don't have to keep going into. Yeah, what time do you wake up on the weekend?
Like 9, the same time that she does.
So you wake up at 6 throughout the week and then 9 on the weekend?
Yeah.
That's just...
Between 8 and 9. It honestly depends.
I mean, see, and that's where my mind is blown. I don't sleep past 8 o'clock on the week. Whether, like, even if I'm only up until 2, or if I'm up until, like, 2 or 3, I'm probably up by 9. I sleep until 8 o'clock every day of the week. So
we have talked about this before. I sleep very inconsistently. I wake up 6 to 7 times a night.
But,
you should get a sleep study done.
You should get a sleep study done. But my point is, the fact that you already wake up earlier than your wife during the week, I thought maybe you still wake up earlier than your wife during the weekend, and then when you wake up earlier, you got that half hour, you got that 2 hours until they wake up. Like, there are occasionally times where that happens, but keep in mind, and so to be fair, I'm not waking up, like, unprompted. I'm a light sleeper, so noise wakes me up. Mm-hmm. And, like, we live near a train. Train goes by every fucking night at, like, 2 a.m. That wakes me up, keeps me up for, like, half an hour. We have Ben sleeps in the room because he has separation anxiety, so he freaks out if he's not in there. He's in a crate, but that little fucker snores like crazy. So every once in a while, he'll have, like one of those, like, really deep, startling snores that fucking just completely wakes me up out of, like, even a deep sleep. It sucks. But occasionally I do wake up early on the weekend, and, I will, like, throw something on if I have a show to watch, or, like, I'll play a game for a little while. But, like, you figure, like, on a weekend morning, if I wake up before Erica, I have to take both dogs out separately, because Ben wants to go on an actual walk. Kaylee hates it. She just wants to go out, poop, and then come home, but she won't do it in the yard. And then they have to get fed, all that fun stuff. So, like, by the time all that's done, it's, like, an hour later, and Erica's probably up. Like, being an adult sucks. Trust me, I know being an adult sucks. It's still, like, we can move on.
We live different lives, that's all.
Yeah.
Different lives.
Yeah, we can just move on. Because honestly, this conversation is both frustrating me and depressing me, so we can just move on. Like,
you're welcome.
100%.
Okay, so I guess to wrap things up, I watched, on Monday, Erica and I actually both watched that horror movie, Hereditary. Have either of you guys ever watched that?
Fuck no.
Isn't that like the prequel to something?
So it's not a prequel, but as far as I know, it's by the same director that did the movie Midsummer, which is also like a fairly well-regarded like recent horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both of them are like very well-regarded. Like people really like them.
Yeah.
I did not know what it was going into it. I just know that when it first came out, people were saying that like it was like legitimately scary and like they were having trouble dealing with like how scary it was afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, like, it was a good like horror movie as far as horror movies go. It was more like a suspense than a horror. I don't know why so many people found it as frightening as they did though. Like it wasn't that bad. There were a few like pseudo jump things mostly near the end, but most of it was just like it was like very weird and kind of like not even cerebral, but just like making you wonder like is somebody going like are these people going crazy or is there actually something going on? Because it could have gone either way. Like they could have all actually been insane, and like that having been the movie, or it could have been like, oh, like there's actually a supernatural thing going on. You just don't find out until the very end, which is actually kind of a cool like thing when you get down to it and think about it. Like not being able to guess exactly what happens. I'd say that the only shocking thing, there's a character death fairly early, and it was one of those deaths where like nothing else has happened in the movie at this point. And the death is just so sudden and immediate that you're kind of taken aback. They basically like their head gets knocked off by a like a light pole, like one of the like wooden power pole things like on the side of the road. Because they stuck their head out of a car window as the car happened to swerve to miss a deer. And it was just like you don't expect it to happen because like it seems like everything's like relatively fine, and the person sticks their head out the window, and then the driver has to swerve. And all of a sudden, you just hear thunk, and you don't even realize that like the head got knocked off until like a few minutes later when they literally show you the head like on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Very weird. But like if you like horror movies, like it's actually worth checking out. So there's that. And then the other one, well, it's not a movie. There's a show. It's called The Detective Is Already Dead. It's an anime. It's on like Funimation and Crunchyroll and all those things. I thought that the concept seemed interesting, like going into it. It's basically like what it says. The show starts out with like a kid who meets like as she claims it, like a world famous detective, and basically gets roped into being her sidekick. And then by the end of, I want to say it was the first episode, they basically tell you like, okay, yeah, this happened like 4 years prior, but in the present day, that detective died. And like the kid is now like an adult, but not like has chosen not to be a detective because of the way that the detective actually died. And it was interesting for like the first like 5 or so episodes, like as they like slowly kind of like unravel like what's going on, and you find out that like there's like some like supernatural like anime bullshit going on, but like in a relatively interesting way. And then it does actually like turn back around and do like a long flashback for like the majority of the rest of the 12 episodes, showing you basically how the detective died, which I felt kind of like ruined the suspense of it a little bit. Like I definitely enjoyed it more as they were just slowly piecing things together in the present versus them just showing us exactly what happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some things that aren't totally answered, but being that it was only a 12 episode season, who knows if it'll get a second season to actually wrap it up. But like it wasn't bad. It was definitely like worth the 12 episodes.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Sounds interesting. It's probably not really up my alley. I think you guys know I'm not a big whodunit person.
So it's definitely not a whodunit though. It's not that sort of detective thing. Like you're not trying to figure out who killed the detective. It's more just like what's the weird supernatural stuff going on and how is everyone involved? Because like in the first episode, like the bad guy grows this like weird like appendage thing out of the side of its head.
Okay.
And then like you find out like that this detective has this like old school like silver rifle thing that somehow the bullets contain like a trace amount of her blood and makes it so that if she shoots somebody with it, they can't ever harm her. Like it's very weird. Like it's got like that sort of weird shit going on. So then you're left to wonder, it's like, okay, well then who could have actually done this? And you find out that a character they introduced in the present apparently got a heart transplant that was that detective's heart.
Okay.
So, like, there's just all these different, like, kind of, like, threads going on, but at no point are they showing you a bunch of clues, and you're given, like, a lineup of characters, and you're like, okay, now which one of these could have possibly killed this person? And even, like, the episode-to-episode mysteries are way more, like, shonen anime adjacent than, like, actual whodunit.
Mm-hmm.
So it may actually be a little more up your alley than you'd think, because you do seem to like some of the, like, just the goofy shonen stuff, like the My Heroes and things.
All right, I'll look into it. I may have to check it out. But...
Yeah, I don't know if it's on Hulu or anything, but I know it was on Crunchyroll and Funimation dubbed, so there's a chance it's on Hulu. So I know, for whatever reason, a lot of stuff from those two platforms ends up on Hulu in one way or the other.
Yeah.
But
it's, did I just find out it was on, HBO? I just found out the Full Metal series are on HBO.
Oh, like both the
I know
2003 and Brotherhood?
I know Brotherhood is. I don't know about the first one. I know Brotherhood.
Isn't the first one actually on Netflix? Or did that
they
come
both
off?
They both were on Netflix for a while. So I think they're both on. If
I remember
the one
at
is,
one
probably one. The other one is.
Okay, I remember at one point the Brotherhood was on Netflix, but it wasn't the whole thing. It was only like the first like 30 episodes, and it's like, well, this is absolutely fucking you.
Yeah, and that's that's basically what happens with all Netflix stuff. Is like, you get Attack on Titan season 1, and now we're getting into Attack on Titan the final season.
Isn't it the final season times 3?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It's Attack on Titan the final season part 3. So it's actually a new series now, is what it is. Because it has the same amount of seasons and potentially episodes as the first 3 seasons of the original series.
So, actually, out of curiosity, as far as Attack on Titan goes, are you caught up, or have you not started the final season at all?
I was waiting to watch the final season until it ended, which was supposed to be the end of final season part 2. So I have not. I'm probably gonna say fuck it and watch it, just because I want to know what's going on, and I've been potentially spoiled by a few things, but that's just of my own volition, so I'm bummed out about it. So.
Okay, so you maybe you can answer this then, maybe not. Does it seem like they're just dragging out the manga at this point? Because, like, I know that's already done, so it's not like there's, like, new content that they're pulling from.
So I don't know anything about the manga. I've never read it, but from what I've heard, there is a lot of bullshit and nothing in the manga. And so, like, I had a buddy who said he read the manga, and when he found out that they were turning it into a series, was like, I don't know how the fuck they're going to do this, because there's a lot of nothing in the manga. And so it seems like maybe the later portions of the manga, there was a lot of everything. And so, like, they probably overextended themselves a little bit. Like, I'm trying. You've been watching it, or have you tried watching it?
Well, we've only finished the first season.
So at the end of the first season, you see the Titan in the wall.
Wall.
Yeah, there's literally, there's the wall cracks, and there's a Titan inside of it, and he's smiling.
I honestly don't remember that at the end of the first season.
It's like probably like right before the credits, or it might even be like it's a post credits thing. Actually, like
I may have not seen it then.
The series or the show actually continues to play as the credits are rolling, and things happen while the credits are rolling. And the last thing you see is a crack happen in the wall. It drops, and you see this Titan in the wall. Apparently, that's like 100 issues in or something like that.
Oh wow!
So yeah. So they condensed a lot, and then they added, I don't really know. I might be over-exaggerating the number of issues, or it might be maybe 40 chapters in or something when that happens. But just from what I hear, there's a lot of nothing in that manga, so I don't know. But it might just be that they are stretching it for money, because there's no reason to create a third final season when each final season has been the same length of normal season. You could have just made it season 4, season 5, and season 6. Like, I would understand if the final season, part 1, was only 5 episodes, and like COVID slowed you down, so you did 5, you do another 5, and you'll do another 5. But I think each part is like 10 episodes apiece, which on average a Attack on Titan season is about 13 episodes.
Yeah, I know the first season was 24, but I think every season after that is 13.
I'm not sure. Let's see. Part 2 episode count. So Attack on Titan Part 2 would feature 12 episodes of the final season.
Yeah, because it looks like, so season 1 was 25 episodes split into 2 halves, with really only a small gap between the 2 halves. Season 2 came out several years later, though, and was only 12. And then, yeah, it has been split ever since. Like, each season has been split into, like, 12 to 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Except for this season, where, like you said, it just keeps splitting more and more and more.
Well, so, if you look at the wiki, they combined it, season 4, which is Attack on Titan, the final season, is 28 episodes so far. So far. So that's 14 episodes a season, give or take, which means the final season has more episodes than the middle 2 seasons. The same amount of episodes as the first season. So you have final season part 1 and 2 are longer than the series itself, basically.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I guess we can wrap it up now, though.
Yeah.
So next week, we're going to be doing our book club on The Raid 2.
Hey, let's move it a week.
Are you not going to be here next week?
Yeah, no, I forgot that the one show that Sarah and I had tickets to was next Wednesday.
Oh, what show is that?
It's this guy, Matt Copley. He does, like, pop punk covers of Broadway songs.
Okay, that actually sounds like it could be cool.
Yeah, and then also he's in a pop punk band that I forget the name of, but he's doing a solo or whatever tour.
Okay.
So we'll be at the Fire in Philly next week.
All right.
Do we want to push it back a week, or do we want to just record on a different day next week?
Or we could do that.
Yeah, do you guys want to do Tuesday next week instead?
Yeah, Tuesday's fine.
We could do Tuesday next week.
Okay, so we will still do the Raid 2 next week. We'll just record a day early.
All right,
that
sounds
works.
Good.
Cool. All right, well, and then in that case, if you'd like to find any more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All that stuff helps a whole bunch. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. Now, Rich, do you have any stream stuff you want to plug real quick?
No, nothing special, nothing going on. Like I said, I'm focusing a lot on Elden Ring and stuff to try to get ready to be able to play Monster Hunter for a lot of time. So the only special thing I have going on is my 1-year anniversary is Wednesday, June 1st. So I will be streaming for a little bit after we record this, just as a slight celebration.
You won't. You can record as much as you want on June 1st because we're recording on May 31st.
Why are we recording on May 31st?
Didn't we just talk about... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's 2 weeks from now. Fuck. Never mind.
Oh, my goodness. So Wednesday, June 1st is my 1-year anniversary. I'm not doing anything special except for maybe going to play some No Man's Sky because that's what I played that day. And the only reason I know...
Was that really your first stream?
The only reason I know this, and it was my first stream in a long time is what I titled it because I hadn't streamed in forever. And the only reason I know this is because I backed that up onto YouTube. Otherwise, I wouldn't know this. And I stopped backing up a lot of my streams on YouTube. But it's probably going to be No Man's Sky. Might just be something else. Might just be community games like Mario Kart or something like that. But Saturday, the 4th, mark calendars. I'm going to do my attempt at a streamathon or streamiversary subathon asterisk. The asterisk we cap at 24 hours because I'm fucking old and I can't do more than 24. I could probably not even do 24 hours. But
you're giving me a hard time for going to bed at 10 o'clock. What an asshole.
Yeah, because you can stay up till 11. But no, so it's a subathon, which means for every sub we get, we add an hour to the timer. I'm capping it at 24, but if we continue to get subs beyond that, I'll do something the following Saturdays until we make up all the time. But yeah, that's really all I've got right now. No special stream after that until my birthday stream, which will be in August. So that's really
all right. Well, in that case, thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.